Welcome to Guzzlr.
Hello, welcome to Guzzlr. Today, Declan isn't here. He's returning in...
Is he not?
He's not here.
Oh yeah.
So not like
different
Declan,
man.
is it? Yeah,
You mean I don't look like Deck?
No, you
Bit
don't
disappointed
actually.
with that,
You
to be
don't.
fair, mate.
You're more shredded.
Yeah, I am.
Declan will be back in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah.
And usually, quick thing, we record our podcast about 4 weeks in advance.
Nice
This one, no, 5 days.
Yeah.
So everything we say is pretty much relevant to our...
I mean, not really, because it's
no,
definitely on history.
it's just about history, yes.
Not that relevant.
So, Niall, you're in episode the other week where we tried beer.
Yep.
There we go. Finance manager, I believe I called you.
I mean, I'm not very good with finances.
No,
so
it's all
nah.
famously. But that's indeed what I said on my things upside down. You've got a history degree now.
Yeah, unfortunately. As always, why not spend £28,000, you know, reading history for 3 years and then go in and do something completely different?
Finance manager, everyone.
Yeah, finance manager.
So because of your job, we can't talk about politics today.
No.
Good.
Which Alfie's very happy
I'm
about.
very happy about.
Because it stops me from doing
Very,
that.
very happy.
Alfie, today what are we drinking?
We've got, first off, we've got Siren. What's that? Lumina.
Yeah, Lumina.
It is both IPAs, I believe. This one's a session. Is that a session as well?
I don't know.
It just says IPA. So that one's just normal IPA.
I like this. We haven't tried it yet. It's called Me, Myself, and IPA.
We've got me, myself, an IPA and a Siren. Siren's a session IPA. It's 4.2%.
Right.
And then me, myself, an IPA. I think it's a 7,
I
isn't
think
it?
it's 7, isn't it?
7%. That's from the Holland box, I think.
Yeah. And
They're
in
all
Holland,
high
they're all
percentage,
high.
they're
Yeah.
all high percentage.
And now, what are you drinking today?
Well, as we're doing a history podcast, I thought I'd go for a bit of traditional mead.
What is mead?
It's literally like old-fashioned wine. So it's what they used to drink like Anglo-Saxon time when they figure out how to...
Babylonian.
Get pissed.
One
Fair enough, a bit older than I thought.
of the oldest known alcoholic beverages.
Yeah.
And you
So
have
it's literally just like, I think it's got like honey added to it, so it's really
It
sweet.
says honey, yeah.
you have a goblet as well,
Yes,
which is
yeah.
quite different to mine, Alfie's.
Guzzlr podcast.
Right then, so today we're talking about history.
Oh, let me just get my notes out.
His degree certificate. There's nothing written on it, just makes him feel better about himself.
One.
Pass overall as degree certificate. Right.
I got a bit carried away, to be fair, mate. When you said I was doing a podcast for the
To be
first
fair,
time.
that's what we're doing. Churchill. I'm actually going to look at this. So, I did want to talk about Churchill and Hitler. However, communism, blimey now.
Hitler.
Post-war change Ireland.
Ah, there we go. German history.
Jesus Christ. This is mad. The abdication. What's this? Crisis.
Yeah.
Blimey. Was this your degree?
No, that was A level.
Was it? I didn't do it. Did you do this to me?
Yeah.
Blimey. I can't believe you've got this many extra notes for A level.
Yeah.
It
tells that I've got
level stuff, nothing.
It tells I've got more notes for A level than I did for the whole of my 3 years of university.
That's
true.
uni.
That's uni.
This is uni.
That's uni.
This is crazy. Well, here we go.
All
then.
my knowledge is up here. Not
Um,
history knowledge, I'm getting that.
So I do want to talk about Churchill and Hitler. Yeah.
Politics.
Yeah,
I'll
old
talk about it.
politics, it's alright.
But I want to go into a little bit later. Do you all know Edison?
Who?
Thomas.
Thomas.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Thomas, I know.
What did he do?
Big Tom.
Big Tom?
Create the light bulb.
He correctly that, Bob. He did. But what I found really interesting was he was not seconds, but he was really close to making the voice recorder.
Right.
Like really close to it.
Yeah.
And then he just thought, nah, can't do that. So he made the light bulb instead. But he was like,
How was he close? What did he do?
he just didn't turn on. No, I don't know.
You-
He was just,
I've got it. It's done.
he was just so close to putting the light switch.
You
he
know
thought,
what? Nah.
who
Don't
needs
really
this?
want it.
Who
Don't
needs
need it,
this? Exactly.
That's much more important.
But
They don't
actually-
hear themselves, God.
Yeah, it was actually made though by a man called Warren De La Rue 40 years before
Yeah, it was.
in 1880. Yeah.
Is a light
but it
bulb
was-
hard to invent?
I thought it was in 1880.
I don't know, mate. I reckon. I know shit. I can do it easy.
How do you make a light bulb?
Don't know, but I can do it.
You can do it with potatoes, can't you?
You just make something hot, don't you? What sort of bulb are you talking about?
They made him up.
You're talking about a filament bulb.
Yeah, filament bulb. Yeah.
You just make it hot, don't you? And it glows.
I agree, but
Just pass the current. I don't know what you want from me.
fine. What about I've got here photos, and I put how exclamation mark. I find the idea of photographs absolutely fascinating.
Right.
because like, especially when do you know when the first photo maker? Do you know when the first camera was made?
When like
1876.
I was going to say 1890, like late 1800s.
Here's the thing, I didn't write that down. Oh, I did 1814.
1814.
Oh,
Bloody hell.
Yeah, and I just think
crazy.
it's crazy that like you can get something from over there and put it onto a bit of.
I mean, they're a bit more advanced nowadays, to be fair.
They
as
are,
well.
yeah.
You used to have to stand there for like half hour in
Yeah,
front of
you
it
did,
to get a
yeah.
And I was
picture.
thinking in 1800s, how did they do that? How did they do that?
I'll
science
be honest
boy.
with you, mate. I don't know how cameras
You don't know.
work. Just
Do you know,
captures light, isn't it?
Yeah, but then and puts it on paper. I think that's fascinating.
Paper?
Oh yeah. You print it out.
They won't print them out in
That's not the
1814.
camera.
No, actually, I think it was on
That's
a bit
a
of metal.
printer.
I think it was on a metal, actually.
Metal?
I'm sure it was on. I saw a photo of it earlier. So the man was called Johann Zahn. Oh, actually, and he was the first person to make the camera in 1685. Actually, first camera in 1685, but the first photo wasn't taken until
So what did
1814.
the first camera do?
He took the photo in 1685, but it didn't develop until 1814. He didn't.
Oh, no, you didn't.
I don't know. They made the camera.
Wait
but,
for
How
it.
did they know it took
Wait
a photo
for
though
it.
if it didn't develop it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. How do you see the camera? You didn't.
They looked through a lens and just went, yeah, that's a photo.
Yeah. That's how do you?
How do you know it's a camera?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway. Joseph Nippes in 1814 he made it. Do you know what the first photo was of? Have a guess.
I've seen it, I think, can I? No, I ain't. Is it a train?
No.
That's the video footage, isn't it?
Yes, it is actually. Yeah.
Himself.
That made sense. It was just.
Nudes.
It was,
His wife.
yeah, it was a dick pic.
What do I actually look like? Let's go.
It was just a view from his upstairs window from Burgundy in France.
I've
And
seen that.
I was in the photo. If you was going to be the person to take the first photo, you weren't a good photo. It weren't worth it. He should have. Imagine in schools in like 50 years they go, first photo, we're going to look at the first photo, it is just of his knob. Like, I feel like you could take the first photo, you should do
Yeah,
something
but like,
a bit better.
you say it weren't a very good photo, but it might have taken him a lot of attempts.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't constantly be like,
Yeah.
get the dogs and the
That's
poker
true.
set round again.
He tried
500
it.
500 for attempts.
He tried it with his knob 25 times beforehand and he thought, I'll just do the window instead. Yeah, he kept trying to take it. It was like, it ain't working. So he took one outside and thought, oh, there it is. And
There it
that's
is.
it, yeah. Well, yeah. Now, I know you learned a bit about this. So, one thing, quite a recent thing that I find absolutely fascinating is when they, was it in Leicester? Where they dug up the car park and found King Richard's. I think.
Yeah.
Was it Leicester, was it?
Yeah, it was Leicester, yeah.
So on Sunday brunch the other day, there was a bloke from Oral Histories. Did you watch Oral Histories? Oral Histories?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, we spoke about them. We
Maybe
did
we did.
in last
Oh,
episode.
last episode. Maybe so, yeah.
We said we can't believe they didn't
I'm
get
not
a
that
BAFTA.
Oh, did we? I didn't know we
so.
said that.
Yeah, I'm not that old. I do remember
songs.
horrible histories.
Yeah. Well, I'll
Just
have to
about-
check now.
just about
I'll have to check. So the one of the blokes from Horrible History is the one who does Stupid Deaths.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
So he, he's obviously a proper historian, he was asked to go to Leicester. They were like, we're going to dig up this car park. We're not going to find anything, but it's going to make quite an interesting Channel 4 documentary. It's just going to be on for an hour. We're going to the car park. Now, we're not going to find anything, but we might as well because it's topical at the moment. And he was like, alright. He went there for 3 days. First day, they dug up a body, and it was it. And I was just like,
Did he go?
just the luck of it.
Did he go dressed as the Stupid Deaths guy? Because that would have been.
That would
brilliant.
have been
Yeah.
cool. That would have been cool.
Yeah.
That would have been cool. He was in a was it? You can correct me if I'm wrong, 'cause I'm sure you know. But it was in a peasant's grave or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, literally, they're just like throwing him in there.
And it was, his spine was curved, wasn't it? Which is how they knew that it was.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know when King Richard III was king?
I hate this point of history. 1600.
Doesn't know, but it's probably after Richard II. No, I do know. It was about 1485, I think.
Ah, well off.
What was that tomb that they went?
Didn't come in.
You know the one they did on
You just
TV.
ignored that. You just like no.
You know they did it on TV. They opened up a tomb, and then it was like this big event, and they were like, "We're going to find all these treasures and stuff," and there was just nothing in it.
Oh,
I mean, that's not surprising. The amount of grave robbers you get.
Yeah. It's on Goldberg's. I can't remember what the tomb was though. And it was like this
heard of that one.
massive TV thing, and everyone was buzzing. They were like, "We're going to do it live,"
Really?
and it was just an empty room.
Yeah,
There's
sounds
nothing
alright.
there. Literally just nothing there at all.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Sorry."
You're a big fan of Egypt, aren't
The country.
you?
Egyptians.
Egyptians. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Egyptians,
a big fan. Yeah.
Was it Harold Carter? Is that his name?
Tutankhamun.
No, his name was Tutankhamun. His actual name was Harold Carter, and then his pen name was
Yeah.
Tutankhamun. Yeah. Because there was a Tutankhamun curse, wasn't there?
Apparently so.
Supposedly. Where
Supposedly.
his dog, Canary, all died at the same time. Didn't he?
There's a lot of like
coincidences,
curses, isn't there?
There
Like
are, yeah.
this is slightly different. Different Strokes.
Right, yeah.
Seen the TV show
yeah.
Different Strokes.
Yeah. What's the this?
They had a curse apparently. Because they all died. They all died like quite badly, like drug overdoses and like maybe
Isn't there,
suicide and stuff.
A Superman curse? Or
Glee,
a
people think Glee
Glee's
have
got
a curse. Because that woman drowned recently,
Yeah,
didn't she?
yeah.
And it was almost a year today of the last person who died, wasn't it?
Damn it.
However, I think he killed himself, which is slightly different.
Love Island curse?
Yeah. Yeah, well,
I made that one up.
I'd argue there's a Piccadilly curse. I mean, they are just getting a bit old, to be fair.
They're just old, mate,
Yeah,
to
they
be
are
honest with you.
old, yeah.
It's a bit, you can't really be
But
like...
the England football squad has got a curse.
There's a president's curse.
Yeah,
Most of them are dead.
Yeah. Independence Day. What day is Independence Day? Go on.
Okay.
You what?
It's American history.
You know-
America
you know
doesn't
Independence Day?
have a history.
Yeah. Go on.
4th.
July.
Teamwork.
Yeah. Well, actually, the vote for independence was actually on the 2nd of July, but the papers were signed on the 4th.
Right.
Well, I find really interesting. Thomas Jefferson and John Adams, who are
I heard them.
two of like the sort of big people when America was finding its feet. Did I have to word that? They both died on Independence Day in 1826, 4 hours apart. I felt very strange. There's only about 4 of them who were like, or 4 or 5 of them who were like the big founding people when they died on the same day, 4 hours apart, on Independence Day. That's
Nice.
quite a big thing.
Interesting little fact.
What do you think is the most important part of history?
In terms of
As in
global,
most important event?
England.
Yeah.
Important.
We'll go. Yeah, world. England, France.
The world.
England or France.
England and France. So we're not going the
Well,
world.
basically, I'm getting this from the National Heritage of History for England. They come up with 10 things that they think was most important about British history.
If we're going England and France, then I go the Norman invasions.
That's number 1.
Yeah.
William the Conqueror, because that led the way for our monarchy and everything else.
Yeah. Yeah.
From
They
1066.
also paved the way for sort of all the changes and that we had. Obviously, before that, it was all Anglo-Saxon, so
Yeah.
everything we were still sort of really far back technology-wise, and
I feel like you're on the way for a second one.
we'll
If you just keep expand.
keep expanding the Vikings.
No.
Van Hastings. You said
No,
that, didn't you?
yeah.
No, yeah.
What else? Go a bit like elsewhere then. What else you got?
Obviously, we're going to go World War Two.
VE Day.
Yeah.
No,
True
there's
that.
like- there's
That's
no
number
way-
9.
There's no way they
Day
would
9.
put that on.
Yeah.
Number 9 though. Do you remember VE Day now?
Yes, mate.
Apparently, I say apparently, this was definitely a thing that.
Did you ask if he remembers it?
Yeah. That my nan always says that she remembers when bananas came back into the country because bananas weren't
Yeah.
about during the war.
My nan says that as well. They
Mm.
chat a lot of shit, don't they?
Yeah.
Well, it's weird, though, isn't it?
It is.
I think we've had this conversation
yeah,
before.
The bananas just.
The idea that, like,
Mm.
just a new fruit.
Yeah.
Someone's just like,
They
people
had
used to
anything
eat
before.
these, like,
Yeah.
And they wouldn't have seen
weird,
it before
isn't
because no internet, so you wouldn't have seen them before.
no, literally never would have. And someone's just like, here's this.
Yeah.
Like, bananas are weird things, don't
Oh,
they, as
I
well.
think
Like,
they're really weird. Who thought I'm going to peel this? And how mushy it is for us.
I imagine
to
we
do,
just saw, like, animals eating them, didn't we? To be
yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
It's not like.
Shout out to all our
They did.
ancestors who ate poisonous food so we didn't have
It's
to.
like a person
They didn't really
first
know what
milked
to
a
do with
cow.
potatoes, did they? When potatoes
Yeah.
came over,
Yeah.
it was like, what do you do with it? Can't just eat it raw. People were eating them raw initially. Like,
That was a.
imagine
so
biting
around.
into a raw potato.
Well, no. I've never tried raw potato.
I haven't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
so
You got a potato?
he brought tobacco back as well, didn't he?
I
So
don't know.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you? What else you got? So you got number 9, VE Day, number 1.
Church of England, Henry VIII.
No.
No. That's interesting.
Should I tell you?
Yeah, go on,
Here
mate.
you go.
Number 2 is the Magna Carta.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
So, yeah.
Number 3 was the Black Death in 1346.
I heard of that, yeah.
4 was War of the Roses, which started in 1455, and then Henry Tudor won against Richard in 1485.
Mhm.
Shakespeare.
What about?
Shakespeare. Just
He
Shakespeare.
led the way for writing. I don't know. Are you a fan of Shakespeare?
Shakespeare
No,
made that
you're not
list?
a fan of
Can't stand Shakespeare.
You a fan of
I love
Shakespeare?
Shakespeare, yeah.
We
I don't understand it, but I love it.
we went to see a play at
Hey.
Huntingdon. Me and you did.
Yeah, they did.
It was The Merchant of Venice, and it felt like it was about 4.5 hours long.
Yeah. I don't know what
It was-
happened.
No, I don't know. So it was
Literally not a clue.
the funny story about that is that that we went because we had a teacher who was in it,
Yeah.
and he showed us a clip of him in it,
It was like, you should come watch, you should come watch.
and it was about a minute long.
Yeah.
And we was like, all right. And then we went there, and he wasn't on at all. And then he came on and done that minute-long speech, and then
That was it.
And that was it.
He showed us this whole part.
And I thought, what's the
He
point of
showed us
this
the
coming?
entire bit.
Yeah, because we'd already seen it anyway.
We went like theatre as well, didn't
We went to. I didn't.
Didn't you?
No.
Where did you go with
You did. I
drama?
didn't. You did, I didn't. I met you after.
Oh, you met me after.
Yeah.
All that. It's nice, mate.
Yeah.
You should go.
Yeah, will do. Number 6 was Guy Fawkes in 1605.
Oh, yeah.
Number 7
That's
was...
soon, that.
You are?
Soon, isn't it?
Oh, I thought you said
Remember
that.
the 5th of November?
Yeah. Number 7 was Waterloo.
What?
Number 8 was Queen Vic in 1837. Number 9 was View Day. Number 10 was Tim Berners-Lee with the World Wide Web. Do you know what year the World Wide Web came out?
Ooh. No. 1973.
1982.
That's late in that.
1989.
Late in
89.
that. Much late in that.
Mm.
God damn. He went to Southampton, I think.
I've heard that. Because that's why you got strong internet.
The guy who invented fibre optics definitely went to
Oh yeah,
Southampton.
that's why you got strong
That's
internet.
why we got really strong internet.
Not
Because
because
they're
Tim
like,
Berners-Lee
it'd be a
is
bit
it.
embarrassing if we
Yeah.
invented fibre optics and then
Yeah.
our internet's like.
Especially when you're
Pigeons.
putting him on, like, putting him up
Yeah.
as your Illuminati.
Yeah,
Like, oh yeah, he came here. Our internet's all
2 megabytes a second.
So now, you got your notes here.
Yes, mate. Where do you want me to start?
What's your favourite bit of history?
It's between obviously World War II, so Hitler, Germany, and Vikings.
What do you know about the
Absolutely love
Vikings? Have you seen the TV show The Vikings?
I have. Love it.
It's
It's
good?
brilliant.
No.
One of the
Are you?
best TV
No.
shows.
Have you?
No, mate.
One of the best TV shows.
Yeah, in my opinion. But then again, I'm a bit biased.
I've seen one episode.
Was it good?
First episode.
It seemed nice, mate. It seemed nice. Nowhere near the first episode. My
Um,
housemate was watching it and it was just on, but it was good.
So, why the Vikings? What is it you like about the Vikings?
Just that, like, there's not much recorded on it, actual factual history.
So
So our main source of knowledge for the Vikings is something that was written 200 to 400 years after the actual Vikings, and that's what everything's set on.
Is it the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle?
No, it's not. Don't even talk to me about the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle.
What's wrong with the Anglo-Saxon
Oh,
Chronicle?
it's terrible. You tried reading it.
Yeah. I have, actually, yeah.
I haven't. I'm missing out.
What's wrong with it?
It's very inaccurate.
Yeah, I did hear that.
Very, very inaccurate.
But why? What? I don't know. Explain.
Because a lot of stuff back then, they were written as stories. So, like, all the Viking stuff based around Ragnar Lothbrok is mythology, littered with bits of actual history. So, like, we know that Rollo, one of the people...
Rolo?
It's, yeah,
Your dog?
Rollo. It's double L, so
Oh.
I'm going Rollo.
Oh,
He
yeah.
was an actual person. He
Right.
became the Duke of Normandy, and he's referenced in there. But, like, the way that they reference Ragnar Lothbrok, he's like... He has to be 10 different people to be real, basically.
Oh really?
Yeah. He
Could he not be?
he can't be in all these places at the same time. He's definitely a mythological character.
Is there a lot of mythology in the Viking show?
Yeah. It's a mixture, to be honest. It's a mixture of facts and mythology. It's
But
about
do they
half and
like...
half.
So is it just like they mention it a lot and you see how it played a role in their society?
So
or is
they-
it actually like they incorporate areas of...
They follow Ragnar, who
Yeah.
is mythological,
Yeah.
and all the stuff like obviously coming to England, going over to France. That's all based on history of
Yeah,
what actually
yeah.
happened. So they also think that the Vikings might have been the first people to actually discover America.
Yeah, I
reckon
heard that as well.
Yeah, they reckon there's like there's some evidence. It's not much that obviously Vikings went over there first, like artifacts and things like that. But that's where you get most of your stuff from, artifacts.
No, I did hear that, to be fair. I heard that on the grapevine.
Before we get into church, what do you think is the worst moment in history? What do you think is the bit that was like
Till the Hun.
Attila the Hun?
Yeah.
Sorry, I keep kicking you.
They reckon that nearly everybody has a bit of Attila the Hun's
I was
DNA
like-
because he raped him. He
I
raped
thought it
his
was
way
like 1
across
in
Europe.
4 or something. Or 1
Yeah.
in 3 or something.
That's
1 in
crazy,
3,
isn't
1 in
it?
4.
That were
That's-
related to him.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That is crazy, yeah.
What do you think?
The worst thing
worst
history.
history here. Even one history hasn't got to be like.
Oh, I can't say that.
TikTok.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Do you know the? Oh, I'm not saying this is the worst, but do you know the My Lai massacre?
The what?
The My Lai.
No, I haven't heard of that.
You no, you do know this.
Go on, tell me.
It's in Vietnam, so you know it. I was in.
Go on.
Do you know the My Lai massacre?
No,
Which
mate.
is where American soldiers went to the town of My Lai in Vietnam. There's like massacred 504 people.
No, I don't remember that.
Right?
Yeah.
Just women, children, men. They just like ragged them, just like murdered them all. And then there was like 22 soldiers. Sorry, it might be 12. Who they put up for war crimes. And only one of them got charged. He was sentenced to life in prison. However, he served 3 years on home arrest.
That's crazy, isn't it?
I mean, that was pretty standard for
Vietnam
war,
was-
to be fair. Like I think it was World War One or World War Two where the French actually set up brothels
Right.
for the soldiers to stop them like raping.
Really?
So they could just go to a brothel instead.
And rape them instead?
Yeah.
Wow.
It actually ended up spreading like sexual diseases ridiculously far. Like it was one of the main causes of deaths during the war as well.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Because people were just going to brothels like, constantly, catching each other's STIs.
That's sexy.
Lots of fun.
War's sexy, innit?
Another bit of issue I absolutely love. No, I'm not saying it's the worst bit at all. I mean, to be fair, the worst bit, it's got to be like...
Black Death's got to be up there.
That's got to be up there, for sure. What did you say a minute ago? What did you say was the worst? Oh, Attila the Hun, yeah. Yeah, like Genghis Khan as well.
Yeah, Genghis Khan.
Probably up there.
Worse for who, though?
I mean,
I imagine he was having a good time.
Yeah, that's true,
He was loving life.
I imagine he was alright.
Well, 9/11 will also be like... That's one history, but...
Yeah, but it depends if you're going to scale, doesn't it?
But then, like, 9/11 is one of those things that's like bad for like Western world.
Yeah.
But like in terms of the rest of the world, ain't that bad, is it?
No, no.
I know that's like
Even Western world, it
controversial,
is
whatever,
America.
but like in like the Middle East and stuff, that many people die all the time, like all the time.
When watching the Michael Palin program, and he was saying that when he was touring to the Sahara, there was this like skyscraper, which is a tallish like clay building, and he was there when he heard that 9/11 happened, and he was talking to tourists about Twin Towers, and they were like, "Don't know, mate, never heard of it."
No,
So it's quite insignificant to the rest of the world, which is quite. The Black Death was a very big one, obviously.
Yeah.
Slavery as well.
Yeah. I'd also even put in treatment of prisoners of wars by the Japanese.
Oh, so yeah. Bollocks.
Is that for you got written on your card?
No, I was going to say something else.
I've got
and
some
then-
notes, mate. Do you want me to
I
carry
was
on?
going to say something else, and then I completely forgot what it was going to be that I was going to say. Now, tell me about what's his name?
Churchill?
Churchill. Yeah.
Hitler?
Yeah, either one.
With
Well,
Quran.
hang on. So in the Quran, that's it. In the last episode, we was all talking about Churchill and Hitler, and
Wait, when?
oh, no, 2 episodes ago, into conspiracies.
Yeah.
It's on about Hitler. And we was on about how his rise to power was actually not so bad. While Churchill, when he was in power, he didn't do anything. He won the war.
Yeah.
And we also spoke about the fact that, I don't know if he did speak about this actually, but I went to both my grandparents and said about when Churchill was in power the second time. One of them just laughed and the other one said, nah, he weren't. And I said, both of them said he was actually in power and they didn't know that. And my dad didn't know that either. And I think both my nan and my dad actually, they could never hear anyone slag off Churchill ever. But the fact is, he's remembered as the one who won the war. What else did Churchill do? Tell me now.
Not much. Bomb Dresden, war crime.
Bomb Dresden.
Very controversial. That.
Yeah.
Very, very controversial. That's and
A lot of people just turn a blind eye to that.
yeah,
A lot of people turn a
yeah.
blind eye.
I mean, as much as obviously, the Blitz was completely and utterly terrible, but retaliating with this policy of, they've hit us hard, we'll hit them harder. I think it was something like 70% of Dresden had to be rebuilt.
And isn't the thing is that in the bits they bombed places that were like important to England, cities and places where they're building things.
They tried to.
Technology
Technology wasn't exactly great. It was dark.
Yeah. Well,
Their technology was awful. They tried to hit things and they always hit other things. Other than that,
but Dresden was just a civilian city, right?
yeah.
And didn't we kill? It was something like hundreds of thousands of more people from English bombings than German bombings.
Yeah, it was. His name was there was 2 bomber commands. No, Britain had 2 bomber commands. The first person, he was like, we go for strategic areas, and it helps with the war. The second person, called Bomber Harris, just wanted to bomb people. That was it, and he did it apparently because it helped British morale. So he would pick a city, bomb the shit out of it until it was gone, pretty much. Have you seen the photos of Dresden?
Nah.
After that, it's
bad.
It's like
it's ridiculous.
this number. I will say is not an accurate number, but they could like
500 billion.
That's it, yeah. They could something like 14,000 like Brits or something in the Blitz, and we killed like 400,000 like Germans or something.
Yeah,
like
I don't know if it's 400,000, but we killed a lot.
Yeah,
of
yeah. Like I said, yeah, there's quite a few, which is a lot more, and people turn a blind eye to that.
Which is, in my opinion, a war crime.
Yeah.
You know, just bombing civilians because it's going to help with British morale is not.
And when you said about technology, now I don't know a lot about it, so you got to educate me. In the Blitz, we had a blackout, yeah. Put the blackout curtain so they can't see the lights.
Yeah.
Right. The problem with that is, well, that's fine. They don't know where the towns and cities are because it's all completely dark. Fine. Right. But then, when you play a big, loud air siren, they've found the city. Imagine going, I don't know where it is, and you see it. Like,
I mean,
there it is from the plane.
I don't know.
Planes were quite loud.
So is the air siren.
Because they were really high.
Yeah, the air siren.
Yeah, but they're high.
They are high. You do have to
I don't think
remember
sound can permeate across that large
Maybe not. That's what I mean. Educating.
And planes back then especially were
very
loud.
Yeah.
These weren't like commercial.
And also, do you really think if I put you in a dark room with a noise, so say I got it to about the same pitch they'd hear up there, do you reckon you'd be able to look around and go straight away, it's there? It's really hard to pinpoint sound.
Probably not.
Really difficult. Sounds really, really difficult. The thing I don't get, right? If you read a book from back then and stuff, and there's like, like the wardens used to go around and that.
Oh yeah.
They always talk about them having their torch on for like as little time as possible.
Yeah.
But I don't think you could actually see a torch beam from 10,000 feet in the air.
That's true. Yeah.
Depends if you've got 10,000 torch beams, don't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good.
You might get a few then.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So you're just like all my mates might have one on. I should turn mine off.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. That's interesting. That is interesting. I didn't think of that. I thought I was the only warden in the world. Just me.
You're just running around London by yourself.
Bomb him.
Turn that light off. Turn that light off.
So
why didn't we? 1 second, sorry. Why didn't we go out to like countryside somewhere or whatever, or like kind of just outside London, just whack loads of lights up?
Oh yeah.
I mean, that would have been quite good.
Bad shout,
yeah. I mean, they did like. Have you heard?
Whack some but like not too many, because you don't want to be too obvious. You want to look at like some people have just left the lights on.
Yeah.
And then they'll just start bombing.
We did different diversionary tactics. So like when we was going to storm the beaches, we had inflatable tanks, which they put up along the front to make them think that we was coming from elsewhere.
That's clever as my idea.
Literally just blow up tanks. I like your idea. That it's good.
I didn't at all.
Shame it's too late.
Yeah.
I didn't at all know.
Next one, mate.
Yeah.
You didn't at all know what you meant by that. When you said
we'll get the
beaches,
10 miles out of the city, thank God.
When you said we're going to storm the beaches and you said we've got inflatable tanks, I was like, why got tanks on the water? We're going to storm the beaches in a dinghy tank. Was it you told me the other day about the
like a Lilo?
Yeah.
Tank Lilo.
Was it you told me this or did I hear it somewhere else? About the was it the British dogs?
It probably weren't me. I can't remember saying about that.
Actually, it might have been German dogs. Anyway, no, I've got to choose one. The German dogs. Now they trained them to go underneath the tanks with bombs underneath and blow the tanks up.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
And they'd run underneath it, blow the tank up. So they got out to the battlefield, but they were only trained to run underneath the German tanks in training. So they just run underneath the German tanks and they just blow their own tanks.
I mean,
up.
to be fair, if it was dash hounds, they're bloody hard to train. We have a dash hound at home, and he's a live wire. I can imagine training him to go under a tank, and he just runs back to his owner and blows them up. To be honest.
Yeah. However, it might have been the British dogs.
Oh no!
I can't remember.
I've never heard this one.
Oh, it's not true.
Yeah.
I have actually heard that.
I've heard that. So what else did Churchill do?
Not much. He starved India.
Yeah. He starved India. And a lot of people still don't like us because of that.
Yeah. He tried to micromanage. So basically, he tried to be involved in everything. He was quite good at pushing technology. He was like an advocate for technology, so we improved a lot in that area. But he'd tried to get involved in military tactics, which he didn't know anything about.
So
and a lot of people say he was the man that we needed, but he wasn't the man that was right for the job.
Right.
So in other words, for morale and for the British public, he's what we needed. He's the person that helped us get through the war. For the actual war effort, it was terrible.
So we're saying if who's in John Lewis, it'd be assistant manager, he wouldn't be branch manager.
Yeah. It is weird that Churchill's one of the most. Everyone in Britain knows Churchill.
Yeah.
but they don't really know
Nobody
anything about him.
Nah.
He's remembered
They
for
don't
winning
know
the
what
war.
he did. Yeah, exactly. But like, they don't know how.
No.
And no
You
matter
said
who
something,
was
what
in,
did he do that actually won the war? They'd be like, I don't know.
There's still the
Like,
narrative that,
bloody
you know, Churchill did no wrong, Churchill won us the war. And it's because you've still got people of the older generation that lived through the war. And it's
He
hard
didn't win the
for...
war though, did he?
No, but it's hard for historians to come out and go, actually, Churchill wasn't that great.
Germany went up, didn't they?
so
Do you
surely
think that was what decided the war?
Uh,
Germany going up to Russia?
Russia, then getting stopped in
Splitting their
Russia.
forces?
Yeah, what stopped them was when they got stopped in Russia at Stalingrad.
but
Because
also
it
we
stopped their
think that-
Blitzkrieg offensive. Germany, it was like... I'm going to compare it to football now. It's like watching Liverpool currently. Old Liverpool. So we used to play with Blitzkrieg tactics, basically. We'd go out and we'd smash people. If you stop us for any amount of time, we'd probably lose that game. Do you know what I mean?
Gegenpressing, that was called?
Gegenpressing, yeah. And it was the same with Hitler. You stopped the Blitzkrieg. There was no supply lines or anything because they thought, oh, it'll be quick, we'll fly through. And then it hit winter, and then it's like, oh, actually, this Russian winter's a bit cold. There's a lot of snow.
Not great.
It stopped everything. It stopped them in their tracks, and they weren't able to get started again.
Who was the bloke who the imitation games about him? Turing.
Turing.
Yeah, Alan Turing.
That was a big episode, wasn't it? Because they found out where they were going.
The
what they
Enigma
were doing,
code,
stuff.
Enigma
yeah,
code.
breaking the Enigma. They reckon that.
Bletchley Park.
Yeah.
Actually, Park exactly. So the thing is that he's obviously remembered for the war, but no matter who was in power at the time, would always be remembered for the war. But that's also Neville Chamberlain.
Mm.
No one remembers particularly him. He started the war. I don't mean he started it, but I mean he was
They
in
didn't have
power.
much choice, did
No,
they?
but he was in power at the time, and no one really remembers his speech about when he was like, "We're going to war, Germany." But everyone remembers the Churchill speech about we will fight on the beaches. That
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
And it's quite sad that like, because he started the war,
Mm.
he won't be remembered. And I wonder if Churchill was in that place and never changed. I mean, if they swapped positions, if everyone remember Chamberlain instead, well, they would because he won the war.
Mm.
Churchill was a much better writer than he was politician. In all honesty, he wrote his own version of the war. So you've got Churchill's version of the war, and that's what a lot of people went by. Which is why a lot of people remember Churchill as this amazing person because he wrote it.
Well, he won a Nobel Prize, didn't he? And everyone
Yeah.
thinks it's for peace, but it's for literature, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's literature.
Yeah.
So on the other hand, then Hitler.
Hitler.
Go on.
What a man. I'll take that back straight away. I'm sorry. Where do you want me to start?
Well, just that,
There's
like
so much on Hitler.
just.
I studied Hitler 5
I
years
want to
straight.
know. Here's my thing. So Derek said last week, or 2 weeks ago, that like Hitler was actually a really good leader.
See-
To what extent is that true?
Right,
Well, I want
he-
to know actually. Were his speeches that good? 'Cause people always say he was a really good political speaker.
He was a very angry man, and he was
Oh, really?
able to.
Was he?
He went to.
Bloody hell,
Calm as any quiet.
So he started life as an artist basically, and
I've seen his thing.
yeah, he went to.
It's not bad.
No.
Yeah,
To get into art school, his
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
It's quite nice.
it was.
Yeah, I liked it.
If he got into art
He
school, it
should
may
have
never
done.
have happened.
Oh.
Ian Kershaw done a really good book on Hitler. I'd recommend it. But yeah, so
Don't wait.
Is
Before
that
you
that
carry on,
fat
as I
one
say,
that you've been carrying
that's
around
we went
for
on
years?
holiday
5 years.
to Mallorca, and Niall's holiday read was a book about this big, a hardback book on Hitler about that big. Did you finish it?
No, it's a good book though. I'll take it on the next holiday.
Yeah,
He's
I
on
bet you
page
will.
40.
Yeah. Go on. carry on.
So yeah, he went to for his speeches. He actually went to like operas and that, and
Right.
studied like body language and everything.
Right.
So his body language is very good. His speech is very good, but it's very everything he did was like based on the old Roman idea of
Right.
The leader being
I had heard that.
the what do you call it? And they're all
Leader.
like pompous and that shit.
Right.
So yeah, like Putin now on his
Right, yeah,
horseback,
yeah.
looking
Yeah.
all manly. That's what Hitler was
I
trying
Yeah,
to
I get what you
achieve.
mean. Yeah.
But yeah, he just shouted a lot of very angry words. I mean, it doesn't help this in German. German's an
Doesn't
angry
sound like
language.
German is all camp.
It just sounds like
It's
he's telling
angry
you
or
off.
camp.
Like,
Yeah.
isn't it in French when you say "I love you"? It's like "j'adore du" or something like that. And then in German, it's like "ich liebe du."
Yeah.
It's not, it doesn't sound romantic anyway.
Yeah.
Lieber du.
Camp. But like, yeah. So like I've said, was his leadership? Was he a good leader?
As much as he did get them out, obviously, like you all know about the Depression '28, the
yeah.
banks collapsing.
GCSE.
Yeah. So
How did that?
he got them out of that.
Yeah.
Obviously, like there's a famous photo of children literally playing with barrels of money because it had no worth.
Right.
And that's the point when he came into power. It's probably why he came into power when you actually look through everything. But everything he did economically to get them back to normal was based around getting ready for war. So as much as he did make an economic miracle,
Yeah.
it was all based around war. I mean, he built the autobahns,
Mhm.
which are still used today.
Yeah.
They're still, in my opinion, pretty revolutionary. You don't have them anywhere else.
There's the best motorways in
Yeah,
all the world.
yeah. Volkswagen.
Yeah.
He was literally like one of the head people with that. He
made
sold war bonds and
Right.
said like, if you pay this amount for so long, you get a free Volkswagen, which people seem to forget now. Like, as much as people hate brands for being non-ethical nowadays, they always forget, Volkswagen was Nazi.
Louis Vuitton was it?
Louis Vuitton.
Louis Vuitton
No,
was
was
Nazi.
that- was it- it was Hugo Boss, wasn't it?
Oh, maybe Hugo Boss.
It might
Yeah,
have been
nonetheless,
Hugo
they
Boss.
made the Nazi uniform.
Made the
wasn't it?
uniform. Yeah,
Sorry, Louis Vuitton.
I think it was
Drag your name through the mud.
L'Oreal tested on prisoners of war in Germany. I believe it was L'Oreal.
Blimey, I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
that's
well,
well
people just
conditioned,
forget
yeah.
about that.
What air they had, it's very lovely.
It just surprises me though that people are so stuck up now on
Yeah.
if something's harming the environment and that they won't use it, but they forget that a lot of the projects that they do use were created by Nazis during
Yeah,
war.
no, that's. Yeah, I agree with that. Oh my god, I was just going to say.
He's not alright today,
It's
is he?
not.
What was I just going to say?
He needs to
Oh,
talk.
he also made. He was the first one to do like sick pay.
Was he?
Yeah, and
That's the first I knew that one.
like he was doing. I know trade unions are already a thing, but he was
Yeah.
doing like unions for like teach stuff. Like he was doing things like that.
He was, but you all had to be. It was
And holiday
compulsory
pay,
to be part of a union.
Yeah, it was of course yeah.
And it was so that they could indoctrinate you.
right.
So as much as they
Yeah.
had a union, which is a good
But-
thing,
He holiday pay and sick pay, but like he was the first person to do it.
yeah, but
Well,
then he
right.
did then take all the sick and
I mean, yeah,
all
we can
the
also
ethnic
say that he
majorities
killed
and he
6
killed them
million
all.
Jews. No, I know, but I'm saying that he still. You are correct.
If he
like,
was a cripple,
he
he
was the
threw
first
you in a
person.
prison.
I'm not.
I think we agree
Yeah,
that he's more bad than
Yeah,
good.
yes.
but-
After all the stuff that you just said, the York Barnes are really good. I didn't go, but the Jews. I'm now saying that. So he said he done sick pay and the.
Yeah, I'm saying sick pay and
yeah,
that's good.
Yeah,
But the people that were really sick, he just threw in prison.
Autobahns are good, mate. So they're tanks rolling over him.
Yeah, but they didn't throw people that couldn't drive in prisons, didn't they?
Well, maybe not.
Should
But, but I was going to say that Walt Disney was the next person to adopt that from Hitler because Walt Disney
He
was
was,
a
yeah,
he was
very
a-
Nazi.
he was a Nazi
Very,
and
very
there's a lot of
Nazi.
like Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse like propaganda.
Yeah.
Of the things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Walt Disney he for about 15 years was like struggling as like an artist and couldn't do anything. It was like just constantly struggling, and he blamed that everyone who would never give him a job and was like sacking him. It was all like Jews. So when Hitler was like, the Jews, and then Walt Disney was like, yes,
Yeah.
I agree with that. So who was a better leader? Was it Churchill or was it Hitler?
They were both awful. Hitler was a terrible leader, especially during war. Like, he used to. There's accounts of him literally going out to his chateau in God knows where. I can't remember now. And he'd wake up at 12, like, mull about for a bit. Basically, he'd be a student. Mull about for a bit. He might have a meeting with this person or that person, and people would decide things and he'd just go, yeah, go ahead. But that was Hitler's leadership. Whereas Churchill was the opposite. He micromanaged. Churchill went, I don't like how you're doing this, I want you to do it this way. I don't like how you're doing it. This is why we had so many generals as well, although some of the generals were awful.
So, linking back to conspiracies 2 weeks ago, we've also got another conspiracy episode coming up when Declan does indeed arrive back. Do you think that Hitler did kill himself?
Oh, that's a good one.
Mm.
I can't believe
What's the
that
conspiracy
Hitler...
that he's living like...
You know,
He's-
I do.
where is it?
Yeah,
Argentina.
Argentina, or that he went over to America. And
Some people think it's on the moon?
you can't...
Yeah. Yeah.
Being Hitler, I don't think that you could go anywhere and hide for that long. I think he killed himself.
Mohawk. Lovely. Start wearing Hugo Boss.
They reckon the Russians found him, don't they?
Yeah.
And they eventually provided
His
a skull.
But
Yeah.
then they did a DNA test on it.
And it
It wasn't.
Yeah.
That's pretty spicy.
But he seems like the sort of person that would kill himself. He was
He's the type.
He's the type.
he was constantly
Lovely.
he was constantly on drugs towards the end of the war,
What
which
drugs?
is also I think it was like meth and cocaine. I
Nice.
can't be quite sure. I can't remember.
He's a
but-
serious bloke, isn't he?
Yeah, but
It's
no,
a-
it's because he had a condition where he was like he was constantly in a lot of pain.
Right.
So he took these drugs to help with the pain. But then because he took the drugs, he became a leader. So if you look at the war, everybody says the war went really well until Russia. Around that time, they reckon that something went wrong with Hitler. He went a bit doolally. And that's why, because before that, obviously, they took France in like 6 weeks. They were holding Britain back. Even the start of the war against Russia went pretty well.
Slightly off, but when you just said about Dilali, I was watching videos this morning of Ronald Reagan when he was president. Obviously, he was an actor before he was president, so he used to just like to say these funny jokes and stuff like that. Princess Diana and Prince Charles came to the White House, and he was talking, and he says, "It's lovely to have Princess David here with us today," and he called her Princess David, and just carried on in the speech, just like he hadn't even mentioned it, and it was like, wow, yeah, that's.
Ik ben een Berliner.
You are one?
You know that speech?
Kennedy.
Oh yes, yeah,
And he went to
about
Berlin.
and he got it wrong.
Did you know it's
He said
actually
it wrong,
right?
didn't he?
It's actually
Yeah.
right.
It is actually
It's
right.
actually. I'm not
Everyone says it means I'm a donut,
Yeah.
but it kind of does, unless you're actually from Berlin, and then that's actually like a perfect way to say it. So it's not like general German, it's like colloquial, which
Yeah,
means it's
yeah.
even better for his speech.
Yeah.
'Cause it's perfect.
So in other words,
targeted.
he'd done it that well.
He did
that
that
everybody
well
thought
that
he did it
people
wrong.
thought he did it wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's brilliant.
Fun fact.
There's an excellent TV series called. Is it called Rise to
Rise to Power,
Maybe
maybe.
with Robert Carlyle as Hitler.
I don't know, I haven't seen that. World War II in colour though.
You're a fake fan, mate.
Yeah.
World War II in colour, I've
that's
seen
really
lots of
good
times.
with Robert Carlyle. We've seen it. I'm sure we saw it in history lessons when we was at school.
I just
Robert
remember watching
Carlyle
Forrest
was-
Gump.
was school. Is that, yeah, right, Forrest Gump. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. So neither of them were particularly good leaders. But you can't choose which one was better.
No, because it was
Stalin.
What did?
He's the worst.
In terms of what he did, yes, but in terms of being an actual leader, he's probably one of the best. Leadership skills. I mean, obviously, he killed more people than Hitler. He's a terrible, terrible person.
he killed that.
But leadership skills, probably, yeah. I mean, Hitler literally just had other people do things for him. Goebbels did propaganda. Albert Speer did all like technological
Do you
stuff.
think Hitler's sort of got the image that Stalin actually was? Because like Stalin was actually a proper
Yeah.
like
Yeah, I'd agree
do
with that.
whatever he wants. Like
I
he
would
was
agree
just
with
like,
that, yeah. I mean, Hitler could, like, they don't even think that Hitler gave the order to kill the Jews.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
reckon
exactly. Yeah,
somebody
yeah.
else did. And there's a whole thing about Holocaust denial that I won't even get into because that's a conspiracy that you want to.
I think
but yeah, it's terrible.
Mm.
Like, there's people that just say, "Oh, there's no evidence that
Yeah, it's quite
the
a thing.
Holocaust went."
Yeah.
And they
He
cite
got put
like
in prison in Germany for that. They
yeah, they cite things like chimney, because obviously they've got buildings that still standing, so they cite stuff like the chimney positions and things like this, saying that it never
It's a
happened.
bit like
It's just it's an absolutely terrible, horrible conspiracy
Yeah, it's
theory
really-
that
it's
I
really
can't
bad. It's
stand.
bad.
And they don't even, if you bring it up in university, they don't. They're like, no, that's not. It's not history. It's not. You don't even touch on it.
So I'd like to do another podcast on history. I was going to say about, I meant to say this earlier about always throughout history. I think even probably Queen Victoria did, maybe even King Edward and all that did, just for the Queen. But when there was war, the King or Queen would always be at the front of the war on their horse. Like we
I
said,
mean, you're
like,
going way,
Yeah,
way,
yeah,
way
yeah.
back. You're going back Anglo-Saxon when you had like Albert the
But not
Great,
so-
Alfred the Great,
No,
not
I would say
Albert.
Anglo-Saxon, even in the
Alfred the
1600s.
Alfred the Great.
Even in the 1600s. Charles II, Henry II did, Henry VIII did. Queen
Yeah.
Victoria would, did she not go out to the Boer War or something like that? They went out. I don't mean Queen Victoria was sitting on a horse going, we're going to...
She definitely
But
wasn't.
she was there. But now, in modern history, you would never get our Prime Minister, obviously the Prime Minister's staying ashore, stay here to look after this town.
I mean, also, what they're going to be doing, firing nukes at each other.
Yeah,
True.
exactly.
That's it.
If
It's
had
not-
an war,
Warfare's
you
like
wouldn't
dead.
get that anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
There's a complete difference. Like, you could sit to the back, whereas in warfare nowadays, all you need is a stray bullet.
Exactly.
You're dead.
With there's a quote from Doctor Who, when Peter Capaldi said it about warfare. Do you know this quote?
What, I don't know what quote you want to say.
When he said about how when you start a war,
Yeah.
you have no idea how many people are going to die, how
Yeah.
many people are going to get massacred.
From the Zygon inversion.
Oh, so it is. And he says that how a war's going to end is the same way. It's going to end the same way as it always will do. Two people have got to sit down and chat. and discuss it. And that's really
That is, because you never really, smash somebody into submission. You'd have to kill the lot.
You've got to stop and talk before. Do you know what I mean? And that's incredibly sad. That this is a very obvious point, but the fact that like just civilians just kill each other for the sake of nothing, that's not doing anything. That isn't doing anything, because at the end people have got to sit down and talk to finish the war. And I think that's why the Christmas Day football thing is so sad.
I love that story. That's one of my favourite historical moments, to be honest.
And they're like past letters, and they were all just sitting there because they were all just people. But the next morning, when they just got to just get up and just kill each other again. How sad is that? Have you seen 1917?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think brilliant.
With World War One, nobody knows really why it started. It was so you go even further back again, Germany at the centre. Surprise. So you had Bismarck, who basically created a network that he could control of all he had Russian Prime Minister, everybody else, and he had a level of control with that, so he could manipulate people here and there to get what he wanted. So obviously Bismarck was the person who unified Germany initially. He had the war with France in 1970.
Oh, sorry, go on.
Had the war with France in 1970 and so on. And when the war started, it was because Austria and Serbia had a problem, and it escalated because of the treaties in place. So Russia was on Serbia's side, Germany was on Austria's side, then England came in, then France came in, and it all escalated over something as small as Serbia and Austria having a problem. And obviously the murder of Archduke Franz Ferdinand.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why do you think World War II is like... You know when we talked about World War One?
No.
Compared to World War
Yeah,
II?
great.
Is
World
it
War
like...
One is the Great War, isn't it?
Is it just like... I don't know. Why is it? Do you think it's because World War II's got like this narrative? It's got like big characters. You've got like Churchill and Hitler and Stalin.
Yeah, again, you've got two different...
And then like it led to the Cold War. So I guess like the repercussions of World War II were...
Who was leader during World War One?
Who was leader?
Exactly,
yeah.
But it's the Great War, isn't it?
This is what I mean.
Yeah, it was obviously... I know who the German leader was. It was Franz Ferdinand.
Yeah. But do you think maybe it's because it was the first major...
It was a different type of war as well, you have to remember. World War One was all trench warfare. World War Two's almost more exciting because you've got
like
people popping here and there.
Story,
and yeah.
Sort of like...
And it's fighting the big bad. It's what you get now in Avengers films and things like that. You've got Hitler that's portrayed as this awful...
Thanos.
Yeah, basically.
He
was trying to take over the world. World War One was, like I said, it was just fought over absolutely nothing.
Right.
World War One was trench warfare, like I said, but in World War Two, did we still have battlefields where we would be...
You would, but it was more fluid. So other than, obviously, the Russian front...
taking towns and stuff, wouldn't it?
The Russian front was different because the Russian front was... it was a stalemate, so it was a bit more trench warfare, and there's like a bit of siege warfare as well with Stalingrad until the Russians broke out, which was a major turning point when they broke out of Stalingrad. But on the Western Front, obviously they literally just went 6 weeks to the edge of France. They had that whole area within 6 weeks, so there wasn't so much of a front until afterwards. And then when we came in, we was pushing them back quick. There wasn't any protracted long warfare. It wasn't the same as World War One with the Somme when you sat there for 2-3 years in that same trench, maybe making 2 or 3 yards.
Isn't it? That's mad.
Just to round us off, why history? Like why, like to study it or to be interested in it? Like what's the point?
It's the thing of like learning from it, isn't it? I know like a lot of people say that we still make the same mistakes as we used to, but you read history to learn from your own mistakes, not recreate them. Yeah.
Like she reads a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
You'd hope she'd learn from that.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, Germany doesn't really make any mistakes under Merkel. Like it's not like they're making the mistakes of Germany's past, which isn't that long ago. To be honest. Yeah, exactly. She's not going, oh yeah, let's colonise Europe again.
You don't know what she's up to.
But she's Angela Merkel's a very... She ticks all the boxes. She's approachable in many ways. Approachable, what word to use. People go up to her and they can talk to her. She's also a good leader and stuff like that. But I also think that history, whether you've got history this big or that big, the sense that it is utter escapism and that like you can just read history forever and you would never get bored of it. I think it's just incredibly interesting. and stuff like whole histories and stuff like that.
It's the influence on the arts as well, isn't it? So stuff like we said about earlier, the Vikings.
I do think that's a good point.
Yeah, Harry Potter as well has been influenced by the history of
Pretty much everything has some sort of...
Yeah.
I think she's incredibly interesting in every single way. It's absolutely marvellous.
Yeah.
Right, then these beers.
It's not science.
It's not religion.
Which one do you prefer?
So, I really like them both, but prefer the Me, Myself and IPA. If you want to show up to the camera.
Really nice.
7%.
So nice. It tasted strong.
It did, yeah.
But not like alcohol strong, like IPA strong.
Yeah.
Hoppy?
Hoppy.
I don't know what hoppy tastes like.
That.
I've had hundreds and same beers, I don't know what hoppy is. But
And then this one I also really like. You can taste
it was
the
a weaker
session.
taste.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way.
No, it's really nice.
It's a good way, it's really, really nice.
And shout out to you, Declan, but I would recommend both these beers.
Yeah,
Very good.
100%.
Niall.
So I've had some traditional mead. Got it from York when I was there the other week.
Right.
I'm gonna go
You was there like 2 weeks. How are you drunk on that already?
alcoholic. I'm trying to be deck.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do a deck here.
Bad own life.
I'm just going to read from the front. Traditional mead. It's sweet and delicious with rich, deep honey flavours.
Are they deep?
No. It's very honey though. 14.5%. So it's quite strong. It's literally it's a wine with honey. That's how I describe
Does
it.
it taste like wine?
No, it tastes like honey.
I really want you to do that. I'm reading from the front. Barcode number 10.
And yeah. Store in a cool dark place.
No, it doesn't sound right.
No.
Heather.
Oh yeah, Heather. Yeah. So I've got a fun fact.
Go on.
Heather, we've been on about history. Heather actually has a shrine to Churchill
She does.
in her bedroom. She won't let you in there, but if you sneak in,
What's this right?
I shimmied up the gutter. I went in through the window. I also went in through the window. I looked in and saw the picture of Churchill with the candles and everything. I thought I ain't going in there. I ran. I was off.
I've heard of that. I haven't seen it myself, so interesting. That was it then. Thank you, Niall, for being on. You'll be back next week.
Back next week.
I forgot what we do next week.
Just some questions. Pointless questions. Silly questions.
I look forward to it.
I think they're meaningful. I don't.
Thank you very much for watching or listening to our podcast. Please give it a like or share. It means a lot to us. Thank you very much.
Hi guys, sorry I can't be at Guzzlr for the next few weeks. It's a management issue by us getting our timings completely wrong. But I did want to send in a wine review for this week. This week I was drinking 19 Crimes, the Uprising. Now this is a unique little bottle of wine. One, because it doesn't tell me which grape it is, which is annoying. But two, you can get an app and it tells you about the actual man on this photo, and there's other ones to collect. It's quite niche. It's very good. It was recommended to me by a colleague. Now the actual wine itself just says red wine, part aged in rum barrels, so it will give a smoky texture and smoky taste. On the back it says, the Uprising pays homage to Australia's rum rebellion of 1808. Due to the government's hindering of the rum trade, the rebellion was the only time a group of soldiers and citizens banded together to overthrow the government. A portion of this wine has thus been aged for 30 days in a rum barrel and is dark with jammy flavours and smoky finish. To learn more about this, you can go to 19crimes.com, where you can learn about the history of it. It's from southeastern Australia. It's a red wine. That's all it says. Store in a cool, dark place. You can download the Living Wine Labels app and discover their stories. So, let's taste it. So the actual wine itself is a very dark wine. You can smell the smoke before you taste it, so you know it's there. So on first impressions, because I've already had a few sips, doesn't taste that sweet, which is why I quite like it. It's a bit moist, it's not very dry at all, and you don't get the smoke until the end. But it's a lovely niche little kick. So this is a good recommendation from me. Try 19 Crimes, The Uprising. See you later, guys. Have a good episode.
Thank you for watching this Guzzlr video.